The gunshot echoes before anyone screams. Jack Mercer's hand is already on Ava Langford's shoulder, pulling her behind the marble pillar as champagne glasses shatter across the ballroom floor. Blood drips from his knuckles. The man who threatened to touch her is on the ground unconscious. This isn't about money anymore. This is survival. And somewhere in this glittering room full of millionaires and predators, someone just tried to kill the woman Jack swore to protect. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and follow this story to the very end. Comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's begin. Try touching her and see what happens. Jack Mercer didn't raise his voice. He never had to. The words came out low, calm, the kind of calm that made grown men reconsider their life choices. The ballroom went silent. 200 people in tuxedos and evening gowns froze mid-conversation. Champagne flutes paused halfway to lips because they all felt it. That shift in the air. That moment when a man who's seen war walks into a room full of people playing dress-up. The guy in the Armani suit, some hedge fund brat named Marcus, blinked twice. His hand, which had been reaching for Ava Langford's arm, dropped like it had touched fire. "I'm sorry, who the hell are you?" Jack didn't answer. He just stood there, 6 feet of controlled violence in a rented tux that didn't quite fit his shoulders. His eyes locked on Marcus like a scope zeroing in on a target. Behind him, Ava shifted her weight. Jack felt it more than saw it. 3 weeks on this job, and he'd learned to read her movements like a second language. Marcus took a step forward, puffing up his chest. Stupid. Jack had seen that move 1,000 times. The posturing, the false bravado. Men like Marcus thought money bought them invincibility. "Do you know who my father is?" "Don't care." "I could buy and sell you 10 times over." "Still don't care." Ava stepped forward, her champagne glass still perfectly balanced in her hand. She looked at Marcus with the kind of cold disgust you reserve for something stuck to your shoe. "He's the man I pay to break fingers, Marcus. Would you like a demonstration? Or are you going to walk away while you still can?" Marcus's face went red. His jaw clenched. For a second, Jack thought he might actually throw a punch. Part of him hoped for it. Would make the paperwork easier. But Marcus just backed up, nearly tripping over his own feet in his hurry to put distance between them. The crowd around them started to murmur, whispers spreading like wildfire. "That's the SEAL. I heard he killed 15 men in Afghanistan." "No, it was 20. Why does Ava Langford need a bodyguard?" Jack ignored them all. His job wasn't to manage Ava's reputation. His job was to keep her breathing. And from the looks of things tonight, that job was about to get a hell of a lot more complicated. Ava turned to him, her face unreadable behind that mask of perfect control she wore like armor. "We're leaving." "Yes, ma'am." They moved through the crowd like a knife through silk. Jack kept his hand near the small of her back, not touching, just hovering. Close enough to react. Far enough to give her space. He'd learned that about Ava Langford in the 3 weeks he'd been working for her. She didn't like to be touched, didn't like to be controlled, didn't like to need anyone. Which made his job a special kind of hell. He scanned the room as they walked. Exits, threats, sight lines, old habits. The kind that kept you alive when everyone else was dying. A waiter moved too fast on their left. Jack's hand went to his concealed weapon before his brain caught up. False alarm. Just a kid nervous, probably his first black tie event. Outside, the valet brought her car around. A black Mercedes S-Class, bulletproof glass, reinforced chassis, run flat tires. Jack had insisted on it after the first threat came in. Ava had rolled her eyes and signed the check without even looking at the price. She slid into the passenger seat without a word. Jack got behind the wheel, adjusting the mirrors, checking the blind spots, running through his mental checklist, the way he'd done 1,000 times before missions. They drove in silence for exactly 4 minutes before Ava spoke. Marcus Chen. His father owns half the real estate in Manhattan. Shopping centers, office buildings, luxury condos. He's been trying to get me into bed for 6 months. He won't try again. No. Now he'll try to destroy me instead. That's how these people work, Jack. You embarrass them in public, they come back with lawyers and PR firms and leaked emails. They don't fight with fists. They fight with money and influence and carefully planted stories in the Wall Street Journal. Jack glanced at her. In the dim light of the car, Ava looked tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. The kind that lives in your bones and settles into your soul when you've been fighting too long. Then we'll deal with it. We? She laughed, but there was no humor in it, just bitterness. There's no we, Jack. There's me, and there's the people I pay to stand between me and the wolves. Don't confuse a paycheck for partnership. If that's what you need to tell yourself. She turned to look at him, really look at him, and for a second something flickered in her eyes. Surprise maybe, or curiosity. Most people didn't push back against Ava Langford. Most people nodded and agreed, and told her whatever she wanted to hear. You're different from the others. The others didn't last 3 weeks. No, they didn't. Jack pulled up to her building, a glass tower in Tribeca, that cost more per square foot than most people made in a year. 42 stories of steel and money and people who thought height meant safety. He killed the engine and turned to face her. I'm going to say something, and you're not going to like it. Then don't say it. Someone's trying to kill you, Ava. She went very still. Her hand, which had been reaching for the door handle, froze. That's ridiculous. Is it? In the last 2 weeks, you've received 4 anonymous threats. Typed letters, no fingerprints, mailed from different zip codes across the city. Your brake lines were cut in the parking garage at your office. Someone leaked your private emails to the press, the ones about the merger talks with Castellano Industries. And tonight, Marcus Chen showed up at an event he wasn't invited to, one that required advanced security clearance, and tried to put his hands on you in front of 200 witnesses. You think that's coincidence? Ava's jaw tightened. Her fingers curled into fists on her lap. Marcus is an entitled idiot, not an assassin. Maybe, but somebody's coordinating this. Somebody who knows your schedule, your security protocols, your vulnerabilities. Somebody who has access to information they shouldn't have. Somebody close. You think it's someone inside my company? I think it's someone inside your family. The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Ava stared at him for a long moment, her face completely blank. Then she opened the car door and got out. Good night, Jack. Ava. I said good night. She walked into her building without looking back, her heels clicking on the marble floor, her spine straight, her shoulders squared. Jack sat in the car for another 10 minutes, watching the street, watching the windows, watching for anything that felt wrong. A sedan with tinted windows parked across the street. A man in a hoodie walking too slowly past the entrance. A flicker of movement on the rooftop of the building next door. Nothing concrete, just instinct. The same instinct that had kept him alive through 6 deployments and more firefights than he cared to remember. His phone buzzed. A text from his daughter. Dad, are you coming home tonight? Jack typed back. On my way, sweetheart. Love you. Love you too. Bring pizza. What kind? Pepperoni. Duh. He smiled. Lila. 10 years old, and already smarter than half the people he'd worked with in the teams. She had her mother's eyes, that deep brown that looked almost gold in the sunlight. Sarah's laugh, bright and infectious, and completely unguarded. Sarah's way of seeing straight through his nonsense and loving him anyway. Sarah, who'd been gone for 2 years now. Cancer. Stage 4, pancreatic, fast and cruel, and utterly unfair. She'd lasted 6 months after diagnosis. 6 months of hospitals and hope, and watching the strongest person he'd ever known fade away piece by piece. Jack pushed the thought away and started the car. Some wounds never healed. You just learn to live with them. 25 minutes later, he was walking into their apartment in Queens with a large pepperoni and a 2-liter of root beer. Lila was at the kitchen table, homework spread out in front of her, her tongue poking out the side of her mouth the way it always did when she was concentrating. Math. History. Did you know Abraham Lincoln was like super tall? 6'4". That's almost as tall as you. I'm 6 even, kiddo. Don't give me extra inches. She grinned and reached for a slice of pizza, pulling the cheese into long strings before biting down. How's the scary CEO lady? Jack sighed and grabbed his own slice. Her name's Ms. Langford, and she's not scary. She's just careful. Mrs. Chen says she's scary. She saw her picture in the newspaper and said she looks like someone who eats nails for breakfast. Mrs. Chen says a lot of things. Is someone trying to hurt her? Jack hesitated. He'd always promised to be honest with Lila. Never lie, never sugarcoat. Sarah had made him swear it before she died. Lila deserves the truth she'd said, always, even when it's hard. Yeah, someone is. Are you going to stop them? That's the plan. Lila nodded like that settled everything. Like her dad said it, so it must be true. Okay, I believe you. That simple. That absolute. Jack felt something crack open in his chest, that same feeling he got every time he looked at his daughter and realized how much faith she had in him. How much trust. How terrifying it was to be someone's entire world. Eat your pizza, kiddo. Then homework, then bed. Can I stay up until 9? 8:30. 8:45. Deal. He sat with her while she finished her history worksheet, asking him questions about the Civil War and whether he thought Lincoln was a good president. He helped her practice her spelling words. He listened to her talk about school, about her best friend Emma, who was moving to New Jersey, about the science fair project she wanted to do on volcanoes. Normal. Ordinary. The kind of evening that made all the other chaos worthwhile. At 8:45 exactly, Lila brushed her teeth, climbed into bed with her stuffed elephant Mr. Trunks, and her worn copy of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Jack read her 2 chapters, doing different voices for each character the way Sarah used to. When Lila's eyes finally closed, her breathing evening out into sleep, he kissed her forehead and whispered the same prayer he'd been saying for 2 years. Keep her safe. Please God, just keep her safe. He was pulling the door closed when his phone buzzed. Not a text this time, a call. Ava. Jack answered on the first ring. Jack, I need you to come back. Her voice was shaking. Ava Langford, who never showed weakness, who faced down boardrooms full of hostile investors without blinking, sounded terrified. What happened? There's someone in my apartment. Jack was already moving, already grabbing his jacket, checking his weapon, his mind shifting into combat mode. Where are you? Bathroom. I locked the door. Good. Stay there. Don't open it for anyone. I'm coming. Jack. How many? What? How many people did you hear? I don't know. Just footsteps. Heavy. In the hallway. Okay, stay on the phone with me. I'm 10 minutes out. He knocked on Mrs. Chen's door. She opened it in her bathrobe, took one look at his face, and nodded. Lila, please. I'm already getting my keys. Go. He loved that woman. Jack drove like the devil was chasing him, weaving through traffic, running 2 red lights, his phone pressed to his ear the whole time. In the background, he could hear Ava's breathing. Fast, shallow, panicked. Talk to me, Ava. Tell me what you heard. Footsteps. In the hallway outside my bedroom. I was getting ready for bed and I heard footsteps. Could be building security doing rounds. At midnight, without calling first, they always call first, Jack. Always. Fair point. I'm 5 minutes out. Have you heard anything else? No, just silence now. Maybe they left. Maybe I imagined it. You didn't imagine it. Trust your instincts. Jack, if something happens, nothing's going to happen. If it does, I need you to know something. I lied earlier. In the car. You're not just someone I pay. You're the first person in 10 years who's treated me like I'm human instead of a balance sheet. You're the first person who's looked at me and seen someone worth protecting, not just because of my bank account, but because you actually give a damn. And Ava, listen to me. I'm pulling up now. Stay in the bathroom. Don't open the door for anyone but me. Understood. Understood. Jack parked illegally in front of her building, didn't care. Took the stairs because elevators were death traps. Her apartment was on the 23rd floor. He made it in 90 seconds, his heart hammering, his weapon drawn, his training taking over. The door to her apartment was open. Not kicked in, not broken, not forced, just open. Like someone had a key, like someone belonged there. Jack moved through the space like smoke clearing each room the way he'd been taught at Fort Bragg a lifetime ago. Kitchen empty, living room empty. His finger rested on the trigger guard, ready to move to the trigger in a fraction of a second. Every shadow was a threat. Every corner held death. Sweat dripped down his spine despite the air conditioning. His mouth tasted like copper. Adrenaline. Bedroom empty. The bathroom door was still locked. Ava? It's me. Open up. The lock clicked. The door opened. Ava stood there in her bare feet and silk pajamas, mascara smudged under her eyes, looking more vulnerable than he'd ever seen her. Her hair was down. He'd never seen her hair down before. It made her look younger, softer. He's gone. Yeah, he's gone. She stepped into his arms without thinking, without hesitation, and Jack held her, feeling her shake against his chest. She was smaller than he'd realized. Felt fragile, even though he knew she was anything but. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called. I shouldn't have panicked. I'm not usually like this. Don't apologize for being scared. Being scared keeps you alive. The people who don't get scared are the ones who end up dead. She pulled back, wiped her eyes, tried to rebuild that wall she kept around herself. Did they take anything? Jack had already checked. Her laptop was still on the desk. Her jewelry box untouched. Her purse on the counter with cash and credit cards inside. No. But they left something. On her bed, arranged carefully, almost lovingly, were 3 photographs. 8x10 glossies, professional quality. Ava walking into her office building. Ava at the gym running on a treadmill. Ava asleep in this bed, in this room taken from the doorway where Jack was standing now. And underneath them, a note written in neat block letters on expensive cardstock. Family knows where you sleep. Family knows everything. Ava's face went white. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh God. You know who this is. It wasn't a question. Jack could see it in her eyes. The recognition. The horror. The betrayal. My brother. Evan. Your brother wants you dead. No. No, he wants me gone. Out of the company. Out of the inheritance. Out of his way. She looked at Jack. Her eyes hard now, the vulnerability burning away into rage. My father built Langford Industries from nothing. Started in his garage, turned it into a billion-dollar empire. When he dies, control goes to whoever the board trusts more. Not the oldest, not the most qualified. Whoever they trust. Evan's been working the board for months, painting me as unstable, reckless, a liability. Saying I'm too aggressive, too emotional, that I'll run the company into the ground. If something happens to me, if I crack under pressure, if I have a breakdown, they'll hand him everything. So he's escalating, making the threats worse until you break. He's getting desperate. The board votes in 3 weeks. 3 weeks to decide who becomes CEO when Dad steps down. And right now, it's close. Too close. Jack looked at the photographs again, at the careful staging, the implicit threat, the message. You're not safe anywhere. You can't stay here. I'm not running from my own brother. I'm not asking you to run. I'm asking you to be smart. We need a secure location. Somewhere Evan doesn't know about. Somewhere I can control the variables, monitor the access points, set up proper security protocols. Ava hesitated. Her jaw worked, pride warring with practicality. Fine. Where a hotel? Hotels have staff, Staff can be bought. A safe house. Don't have one in the city. Then where, Jack? Where can I possibly go that my own brother won't find me? Jack made a decision that would change everything. My place. Ava blinked. Your apartment in Queens. Safe, off the grid. No connection to you or your company. No one knows about it. Not Evan, not his people, not anyone in your world. Jack, you have a daughter. I know. And she's going to love you. That's not the point. I can't just move into your home. That's crossing every professional line there is. It's inappropriate. You hired me to keep you alive. That's what I'm doing. You can fire me if you want, but you're still coming with me, tonight, right now. Ava stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed, a real laugh this time, sharp and disbelieving. You're completely insane. Probably. Pack a bag. 5 minutes. I need at least 15. 5. Essentials only. We move fast and we move light. She packed in 3 throwing clothes into a designer duffel bag with shaking hands. Jack swept the apartment one more time, checking for cameras, for bugs, for anything else Evan might have left behind. He found a small listening device under her bedside table. High-end, military grade. Not the kind of thing you buy at a spy store. He crushed it under his boot and pocketed the pieces. They took the back stairs down, avoiding the elevator, avoiding the front entrance. Jack's car was where he'd left it, a parking ticket on the windshield. He'd pay it later, assuming they survived long enough for parking tickets to matter. They drove back to Queens in silence, but it was a different kind of silence now. Not empty. Full. Charged with something neither of them was ready to name. Jack kept checking his mirrors. No one following. No cars staying too close. No patterns. Still his gut churned. Mrs. Chen was still at his apartment reading a romance novel on the couch, her reading glasses perched on her nose. She took one look at Ava and smiled like she'd been expecting this. You must be the scary CEO lady. Ava's eyes widened. Jack groaned. Lila talks. Lila talks a lot. Mrs. Chen stood up, gathering her book and her knitting bag. There's tea in the kettle, fresh sheets on the guest bed, blankets in the hall closet, and Jack, she fixed him with a look that had probably terrified generations of grandchildren. You be good to this girl. She looks like she needs someone to be good to her. Yes, ma'am. When Mrs. Chen left, Ava looked around the apartment. Small. Lived in. Nothing like the sterile luxury of her penthouse. There were crayon drawings on the fridge held up with magnets, books stacked on every available surface, a half-finished puzzle on the coffee table, a framed photograph on the mantel of a woman with kind eyes, and Jack's smile. Sarah. Yeah, she died 2 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry. Me too. Every day. Ava walked over and touched the photograph gently, her fingers tracing the frame. She was beautiful. She was everything good in the world. Everything I'm not. Don't do that. Do what? Diminish yourself. You're a good man, Jack Mercer. I've seen enough bad ones to know the difference. They stood there for a moment, the weight of loss and fear, and something else hanging between them. Then a door opened down the hall. Lila appeared, rubbing her eyes, her hair sticking up in every direction. Dad, what's happening? Why are you home again? Jack knelt down, bringing himself to her level. Hey, sweetheart, this is Ms. Langford. She's going to be staying with us for a little while. Lila looked at Ava with the kind of unfiltered curiosity only children can manage. No judgment, no pretense, just honest interest. Are you in trouble? Ava hesitated, then nodded. Yes, I am. Is my dad going to fix it? I hope so. Lila considered this seriously, then walked over and took Ava's hand, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Don't worry. My dad's really good at fixing things. He fixed my bike when the chain fell off. He fixed my dollhouse when the roof broke. He fixed Mrs. Chen's sink when it exploded water everywhere, and flooded her kitchen, and he's really good at keeping people safe. That's what he did in the Navy. He kept people safe. Ava looked down at the small hand holding hers, and Jack saw something shift in her face. Something crack open. Something she'd kept locked away for so long she'd forgotten it was there. "Thank you, Lila. That makes me feel a lot better. You can sleep in the guest room. It's really small, and the bed squeaks, but Dad put nice sheets on it. Do you like pancakes? Dad makes really good pancakes on Saturday mornings. Chocolate chip. They're the best. I love pancakes. Okay, good. Good night, Ms. Langford. Good night, Lila. And you can call me Ava." Lila beamed like she'd just been given the greatest gift in the world. "Good night, Ava." She disappeared back into her room, leaving Jack and Ava standing in the hallway. Ava turned to him, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "She's perfect." "Yeah, she is. She's the only thing I've ever done right. I don't want to bring danger into her life. If something happens because I'm here, you're not bringing it. It followed you. And now, we're going to end it." Ava nodded slowly, her jaw setting with determination. "Okay. So what's the plan?" Jack smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him since they'd met 3 weeks ago. "We're going to find out exactly what your brother's up to. We're going to gather evidence, and then we're going to burn his whole operation to the ground so thoroughly there won't be ashes left." "That's not much of a plan. It's a start. Tomorrow morning we start digging. We find out who's working with him, how deep this goes, what his endgame is. But tonight you sleep, you rest, you let yourself feel safe for the first time in weeks." Ava looked at him for a long moment, really looked at him, seeing not just the bodyguard, or the soldier, or the single father, but the man underneath all of it. The man who'd lost everything and kept going. The man who chose honor over money. The man who saw her as a person worth saving. "Okay, Jack Mercer, let's burn it down." Outside in a car parked 3 blocks away, a man lowered his camera and smiled. Perfect. The photos were crystal clear. Ava Langford entering the apartment of her bodyguard. Inappropriate. Unprofessional. Exactly what Evan needed. He sent the photos to his employer with a simple message. Got her. What next? The reply came 30 seconds later. Wait. Let her feel safe. Then we take everything. The morning came too fast. Jack woke at 5:30, same as always, his body trained by years of pre-dawn missions. He lay there for a moment listening to the sounds of the apartment. Lila's soft breathing from her room, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant rumble of traffic starting to build on the streets below, and something else. Movement. In the kitchen. His hand went to the gun under his pillow before his brain caught up. Then he smelled it. Coffee. Ava was already awake. He found her standing at the counter staring at his ancient coffee maker like it was a piece of alien technology. She'd changed into jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked younger, more real. It's older than you think, Jack said from the doorway. She jumped, nearly dropping the mug in her hand. God, do you always move that quietly? Occupational hazard. Having trouble. This machine should be in a museum. How does it work? Jack walked over, pressed 3 buttons in sequence, and the coffee maker gurgled to life. Magic. More like witchcraft. She watched the coffee drip, her fingers drumming against the counter. Nervous energy. I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about those photos, about Evan in my apartment, about how long he's been watching me. That's the point. He wants you off balance, scared, making mistakes. Well, it's working. Jack poured 2 cups, handed her one. No, it's not. You're here. You're safe. That's not a mistake. That's survival. Ava took a sip, made a face. This tastes like battery acid. I've had worse. We're a war zone. Actually, yes. Afghanistan. We ran out of real coffee for 3 weeks. Had to drink this instant stuff that tasted like dirt mixed with regret. She almost smiled. Almost. Tell me about Evan, Jack said. Everything. Start from the beginning. Ava leaned against the counter, cradling her mug. We used to be close. When we were kids. He was my big brother, my protector. When our mother left, when Dad threw himself into building the company, Evan was the one who made sure I ate dinner. Made sure I did my homework. He practically raised me. What changed? Dad announced his succession plan 5 years ago. Said he'd step down when he turned 70, let one of us take over. Evan assumed it would be him. He's older, he's been with the company longer. But Dad said it would be a board vote. Said we had to earn it, prove ourselves. And I've been proving myself ever since. Let me guess. You've been winning. I've been destroying him. Every quarter, every deal, every metric. I'm better at this than Evan is, and we both know it. He's good with people charming, knows how to work a room. But I'm better with numbers. Better with strategy. Better at seeing 3 moves ahead. So he decided if he can't beat you fairly, he'll cheat. Apparently. Jack set down his mug. We need evidence. Something concrete that proves he's behind the threats, the break-in, all of it. Right now, it's just suspicion. How do we get evidence? We start with his finances. Follow the money. If he hired people to harass you to break into your apartment, there'll be a paper trail. Payments, transfers, something. His finances are private, sealed. I'd need a court order to access them. Or a really good hacker. Ava raised an eyebrow. You know a hacker? I know a guy who knows a guy. Former NSA. Went private after he got tired of the government pay scale. Owes me a favor from Kabul. What kind of favor? The kind where I didn't let him bleed out in a ditch. He's grateful. How soon can you call him? Already did. Last night after you went to bed. He's working on it. Ava stared at him. You don't waste time, do you? Can't afford to. Every hour we wait is another hour Evan has to plan his next move. The coffee maker sputtered its last drops. Ava refilled her cup. Added sugar this time, lots of it. What do we do until your hacker friend finds something? We dig into Evan's life. Who he's been meeting with. Where he's been spending his time. Who might be helping him? You mean we investigate my own brother? Yeah. Ava was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was small. I keep thinking there must be some mistake. That maybe Evan's not really behind this. That my brother, the person who taught me to ride a bike and scared away my nightmares, wouldn't actually try to destroy me. Maybe he wouldn't have, 5 years ago. But people change, Ava. Especially when billions of dollars are on the line. She nodded, but Jack could see the pain in her eyes. Betrayal hurt worse than any bullet. A door opened down the hall. Lila emerged, still in her pajamas, hair wild. Is it Saturday? It's Thursday, kiddo. Oh. She looked disappointed, then brightened when she saw Ava. Hi. You're still here. I'm still here. That means you get to stay for pancakes on Saturday. Dad makes the best ones. He puts chocolate chips in them, and sometimes blueberries if we have them, and he makes them shaped like Mickey Mouse. Ava smiled a real smile this time. That sounds amazing. It is. Dad, can I have cereal? Help yourself. Lila climbed onto a chair, poured herself a bowl of something bright and sugary, and started eating while reading the back of the cereal box. Lila, Jack said, Ms. Langford is going to be staying with us for a little while, which means I need you to follow some new rules. Lila looked up suddenly serious. What kind of rules? Don't answer the door for anyone, not even Mrs. Chen. You come get me first. Okay. Don't go anywhere after school without telling me. Not to Emma's house, not to the park, nowhere. Okay. And if anyone asks about Ms. Langford, anyone at all, you don't know anything. She's just a friend of mine. That's all. Lila looked at Ava, then back at Jack. Is someone bad trying to find her? Jack hesitated. Ava spoke before he could. Yes, someone bad. But your dad is going to stop them. Right? She looked at Jack when she said it, and he saw the trust there. The faith. The same look Lila gave him. "Right," Jack said. "I'm going to stop them." Lila nodded and went back to her cereal, apparently satisfied. Kids were resilient like that. Tell them the truth. Give them a plan, and they could handle almost anything. Jack's phone buzzed. A text from his NSA contact, a guy named Marcus Webb, who went by the handle Ghost. "Got preliminary results. You're going to want to see this. Can you video call?" Jack looked at Ava, then at Lila. "Kiddo, go get dressed for school. We need to leave in 20 minutes. "But I haven't finished my cereal." "Take it with you." Lila grumbled, but obeyed, carrying her bowl down the hall. When her door closed, Jack pulled out his laptop and connected the video call. Ghost's face appeared on screen, all angles and intensity, his eyes hidden behind thick-framed glasses. "Jack, it's been too long." "Not long enough. What did you find?" "Your boy Evan Langford has been a very busy man. In the last 6 months, he's made 23 wire transfers to a shell company called Apex Security Solutions. Total amount $450,000. Ava gasped. "That's him. That proves it." Ghost shook his head. "Not quite. Shell companies registered in the Caymans. No ownership records. No paper trail connecting it directly to any specific services. Good lawyer could argue it's legitimate consulting fees." "But it's not," Jack said. "No, it's not. I traced Apex back through 6 layers of shell companies and dummy corporations. At the end of that chain, I found 3 names. Marcus Chin, who I believe you've already met. A woman named Victoria Ross, former CIA, now works private sector, specializes in surveillance and intimidation. And a man named David Crane, ex-Blackwater, dishonorable discharge assault charges in 3 states. Jack felt ice slide down his spine. "Crane. I know that name." "You should. He was on your team in Kandahar for about 6 months before he got kicked out for beating an Afghan civilian half to death." "That Crane. Son of a bitch." Ava looked between them. "Who is he?" "A sociopath with military training and no conscience. If Evan hired him, this isn't just about scaring you anymore. Crane doesn't do intimidation. He does violence." Ghost nodded. "There's more. Crane's phone records show he made 17 calls to a number registered to Evan Langford in the last month. Most recent call was yesterday, right around the time someone broke into your apartment." Ava's hand went to her mouth. "That's enough for the police, right? We can take this to them." "We can try," Jack said. "But Evan's got money and lawyers. Unless we catch Crane in the act, connect him directly to a crime, it's all circumstantial." "So what do we do?" Jack looked at Ghost. "Can you track Crane's current location?" "Already on it. His phone pinged a cell tower in Manhattan 20 minutes ago. Looks like he's at a hotel, the Grayson Midtown." "Send me the address." "Jack, whatever you're planning, just send it." Ghost's fingers flew across his keyboard. Jack's phone buzzed with the information. "One more thing," Ghost said. "I pulled Crane's financials. He made a cash withdrawal yesterday. $50,000. That's not pocket money. That's payment for something big." Jack's stomach tightened. "A hit." "That'd be my guess." Ava stood up, her face pale. "He's going to kill me. My own brother hired someone to kill me." "No," Jack said firmly. "He's not, because we're going to stop him first." Ghost cleared his throat. "Jack, I know that look. Don't do anything stupid. Call the cops. Let them handle it." "The cops will take days to move. We don't have days." "Then call your old team. Get back up." "My old team is in Virginia. I'm here, with her, and I'm not leaving her exposed." Ghost sighed. "You're going to get yourself killed." "Wouldn't be the first time someone tried." "Good luck, brother. You're going to need it." The screen went dark. Ava grabbed Jack's arm. "You can't go after him. Crane, if he's as dangerous as you say, he is, which is why I need to take him off the board before he makes his move. By yourself, that's suicide. I've done worse. Jack, please. There has to be another way. He turned to face her, his hands on her shoulders. Listen to me. Crane is a killer. He's got your address, your schedule, your vulnerabilities. Every second he's out there is a second you're in danger. I can't protect you from someone I can't see coming, so I'm going to make sure he sees me instead. By confronting him, by making him an offer, a trade, he walks away, leaves you alone, and I don't put him in the ground. And if he doesn't take the deal, Jack's eyes went cold. Then I don't give him a choice. Lila came back down the hall dressed for school, backpack slung over her shoulder. I'm ready. Jack forced a smile. Good. Let's go. They drove to Lila's school in Jack's truck, an old Ford that had seen better days. Ava sat in the back with Lila listening to her chatter about math tests and recess and some boy named Tyler who pulled her hair. Dad says if Tyler pulls my hair again, I should tell the teacher. What do you think you should do? Ava asked. I think I should punch him in the nose. That's what Emma did when Billy pulled her hair, and Billy never did it again. Ava laughed despite everything. Your dad might not approve of that plan. Dad says violence isn't the answer unless someone's really trying to hurt you. But Tyler's not really hurting me. He just likes me and doesn't know how to say it. How do you know he likes you? Because Emma says boys are stupid, and when they like you they do stupid things. And pulling hair is definitely stupid. Ava glanced at Jack in the rearview mirror. He was smiling. They pulled up to the school, a brick building with a playground out front, already full of kids. Okay, kiddo, remember the rules. Don't talk to strangers. Come straight home after school. Don't tell anyone about Ava. Good girl. Jack leaned back and kissed her forehead. Love you. Love you too, Dad. Bye, Ava. Bye, Lila. They watched her run into the building, her backpack bouncing. Then Jack turned to Ava. I need you to stay at the apartment. Lock the doors. Don't answer for anyone. You're going to the hotel. To find Crane. Yeah. I'm coming with you. No, you're not. Jack, this isn't negotiable, Ava. Crane is dangerous. I'm not bringing you within a mile of him. Then I'll follow you. I have my own car. I can get a taxi. You'll stay at the apartment where you're safe. Her jaw set stubbornly. I'm tired of hiding. Tired of running. Tired of letting other people fight my battles. This isn't your battle. This is mine. He's after me because of who I am. That makes it my battle. Jack pulled the truck over, put it in park, turned to face her. You want to know what Crane does? He puts bullets in people's heads. He breaks bones. He makes people disappear. I've seen his work firsthand, and it's not pretty. So no, you're not coming with me. You're staying safe, so that when this is over, when Crane and Evan and all of this is finished, you're still alive to rebuild your life. That's the only battle that matters. Ava's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back. I just feel so useless. You're not useless. You're smart enough to know when to step back and let someone else take point. That takes more courage than charging in. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll stay at the apartment. But Jack, yeah, you come back, you hear me? You come back because Lila needs her father and I. She stopped, swallowed hard. Just come back. I will. He dropped her at the apartment, waited until she was safely inside, then drove to Manhattan. The Grayson Hotel was a mid-range place, the kind where you paid by the hour or the night depending on your needs. Jack parked across the street called Ghost. Which room? 1214. But Jack, you should know Crane's not alone. There's another heat signature in the room with him. Victoria Ross. Could be, or another contractor. Be careful. Jack hung up and checked his weapon. Full magazine, one in the chamber. He had 2 spare mags in his jacket. Probably overkill. Hopefully overkill. He crossed the street, walked through the lobby like he owned the place. Took the elevator to the 12th floor. Room 1214 was at the end of the hall. Jack stood outside listening. Voices inside. 2 people, 1 male, 1 female, arguing about something. Jack knocked. The voices stopped. Who is it? Maintenance. Leak in the room below you. Need to check your bathroom. We didn't call maintenance. Management did. Gonna take 5 minutes. Silence. Then footsteps. The door opened a crack, the chain still on. A man's face appeared. Crane. Older than Jack remembered, harder, with scar tissue around his eyes and a nose that had been broken more than once. I know you. Yeah, you know me. Crane's eyes widened. He tried to slam the door. Jack kicked it hard, the chain snapping, and pushed inside. Crane stumbled back, reaching for a gun on the table. Jack was faster. He grabbed Crane's wrist, twisted, and the gun clattered to the floor. Sit down. We need to talk. A woman appeared from the bathroom. Victoria Ross. Tall, blonde, cold eyes. She had a gun, already drawn, pointed at Jack's head. Let him go, or I put a hole in you. Jack didn't let go. He looked at her calmly. You shoot me, my partner outside calls the cops. 3 minutes they're here. You want to explain why you're in a hotel room with an ex-Blackwater contractor who's been stalking Ava Langford. Ross's finger tightened on the trigger. For a second, Jack thought she might actually do it. Then Crane spoke. It's fine, Vic. Put it down. He broke in. He assaulted you. And if we kill him, we get nothing. Put it down. Reluctantly, Ross lowered her weapon. Jack let go of Crane's wrist, but stayed between him and the gun on the floor. Smart. Now let's talk about Evan Langford. Crane rubbed his wrist, smiling. I don't know anyone by that name. $450,000 says otherwise. Ghost traced every payment. I know Evan hired you. I know you've been following Ava. I know you broke into her apartment. And I know you took 50 grand in cash yesterday. Payment for a hit. Crane's smile faded. You're guessing. Am I? Check your bank account. Check those shell companies you thought were so clever. Ghost ripped through them like tissue paper. Right now I've got copies of every transfer, every phone call, every piece of evidence linking you to this whole operation. One call to the FBI, you're done. Ross stepped forward. So why haven't you made that call? Because I'm offering you a better deal. You walk away. Both of you. Disappear. Leave Ava Langford alone. Do that, and the evidence never sees the light of day. Crane laughed, a harsh sound. And if we don't? Jack's voice went flat. Then I finish what we started in Kandahar. Remember that? Remember when you beat that civilian? Remember how I pulled you off him? Next time I won't pull. I'll push, until there's nothing left. The room went silent. Crane stared at Jack, and for the first time Jack saw fear in his eyes. You're bluffing. You're not that guy anymore. You got a kid. A life. You wouldn't risk it. Try me. Ross set her gun on the table. How much? Jack blinked. What? How much to make this go away? Everyone's got a price. What's yours? I don't want your money. Then what do you want? I want you gone. Tonight. Out of the city. Out of the state. You disappear, and you stay disappeared. Crane and Ross exchanged looks. Some silent communication Jack couldn't read. Finally, Crane nodded. Fine. We're gone. But you need to know something. Evan's not going to stop. You take us off the board, he'll just hire someone else. Someone worse. Then I'll deal with them too. You can't protect her forever. Watch me. Jack backed toward the door, keeping his eyes on both of them. You've got 12 hours. After that, the FBI gets everything. And if I see either of you anywhere near Ava Langford again, the deal's off. We clear. Crystal, Ross said. Jack left, walking quickly, but not running, keeping his hand near his weapon until he was back in his truck. His phone buzzed the second he started the engine. Ghost. Did it work? Yeah. They're running. Good, because I've got bad news. Jack's blood went cold. What? I've been monitoring Evan's phone. He just made a call to your address in Queens. That's impossible. No one knows. Someone does. Jack, he knows where Ava is. And from the sound of that call, he's sending people there right now. Jack floored the accelerator, his truck roaring into traffic. How long? 10 minutes, maybe 15. Call the cops. Send them to my apartment. Now. Already done. But Jack, they're 20 minutes out minimum. Which meant Jack was on his own. He drove like a man possessed, weaving through traffic, running lights, his heart hammering so hard it hurt. His phone rang. Ava. Jack, there's someone outside. 2 men. They're trying to break in. I know. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Barricade the door. I can't, Lila. She came home sick from school. She's in her room. Jack's world tilted. Get her. Get her and lock yourselves in the bathroom right now. I'm 5 minutes out. They're at the door, Jack. They're going to get in. Then make them work for it. Break every window if you have to. Scream. Make noise. Make the neighbors call the cops. He heard glass shatter over the phone. Heard Ava scream. Heard Lila crying. Jack! Then the line went dead. Jack pushed the truck to 90, his vision tunneling, every instinct screaming at him to go faster. He was 3 minutes away. 3 minutes that felt like 3 hours. His daughter was in that apartment. And so was the woman he'd sworn to protect. If anything happened to either of them, there wouldn't be enough of Evan Langford left to bury. Jack's truck screamed around the corner onto his street, doing 60 in a residential zone. He could see his building ahead, could see the black SUV parked out front with its engine running. 2 men were already inside. He knew it without checking. Knew it the way you know when lightning's about to strike. He slammed the brakes, left the truck in the middle of the street, didn't care. His weapon was in his hand before his feet hit the pavement. The building door was propped open with a brick. They'd come prepared. Jack took the stairs 3 at a time, his lungs burning his mind, calculating angles and trajectories and how many seconds he had before everything went wrong. His apartment was on the 3rd floor. He made it in 40 seconds. The door was hanging off its hinges, the lock shattered. Inside he heard voices, male, aggressive. Where is she? Where's Ava Langford? I don't know what you're talking about. That was Ava, scared but fighting. Don't lie to us. We know she's here. Evan sent us pictures. Jack moved through the doorway low and fast. The living room. 2 men, both armed. One had Ava by the arm, his gun pointed at her head. The other was standing in front of Lila's bedroom door. Time slowed down the way it always did in combat. Jack's training took over muscle memory from 1,000 drills, 1,000 firefights. He fired twice. The first man, the one holding Ava, dropped before he even knew Jack was there. Center mass. Clean. The second man spun, bringing his weapon up. Jack was already moving, closing the distance, hitting him with his shoulder before he could fire. They went down, hard furniture shattering underneath them. The man's gun skittered across the floor. Jack drove his elbow into the guy's throat, felt cartilage crunch, then grabbed his head and slammed it into the hardwood once, twice. The man went limp. Silence. Ringing ears. Smoke from the gunshots. Then Lila's door opened. She stood there in her school clothes, her face white, her eyes huge. Dad? Jack was on his feet, holstering his weapon, pulling her into his arms. It's okay, baby. It's okay. I've got you. There was a man. He was trying to open my door. I pushed my dresser against it like you taught me. Good girl. Such a good girl. He held her tight, feeling her shake against him, feeling his own hands tremble with adrenaline and rage and relief. Over Lila's shoulder, he saw Ava. She was on the floor against the wall, her hand pressed to her mouth, staring at the body of the man Jack had shot. Is he dead? Jack checked. No pulse. Yeah. You killed him. He was going to kill you. I didn't have a choice. Ava nodded slowly, like she was processing information from very far away. Shock. Jack recognized it. He'd seen it in soldiers after their first firefight, that disconnect between what the mind knew and what the eyes had seen. Lila, baby, I need you to go to Mrs. Chen's apartment, right now. Can you do that? But Dad. Right now, don't look at anything. Just go straight to her door and knock. Tell her what happened. Tell her to call the police if she hasn't already. Go." Lila went, keeping her eyes down, walking quickly. Jack heard her knock on Mrs. Chen's door down the hall. Heard the old woman gasp. Heard the door close. Safe. For now. He turned to Ava. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "No, I'm fine. I heard them breaking in, and I grabbed Lila from her room. We were trying to get to the bathroom, but they were too fast." Jack checked the second man. Still breathing but unconscious. He zip-tied his hands behind his back using restraints from his go-bag, then searched both men. No IDs. Burner phones. Professional. These weren't amateurs Evan had hired. These were contractors, same as Crane, same as Ross. His phone buzzed. Ghost. "Jack, cops are 3 minutes out. You need to get your story straight." "Story's pretty straight. They broke in, they threatened my daughter and my client, I defended them." "Yeah. Well, you also killed one of them. That's going to be a lot of questions." "I'll deal with it." He hung up and pulled Ava to her feet. "When the police get here, you tell them everything. Evan, the threats, the break-in at your apartment, all of it. This ends today. No more hiding." "Jack, you could go to jail for this." "I could, but I won't. This was clean. Self-defense. Castle doctrine. They broke into my home, threatened my family. Any DA tries to press charges, they'll get laughed out of court." Sirens outside, getting closer. Jack walked to the window, saw 3 patrol cars pulling up, officers emerging with weapons drawn. He held his hands up where they could see them, then slowly set his gun on the floor and kicked it away. "Hands behind your head. Get on your knees." Jack obeyed. Years of training made him want to fight, to resist, but he forced himself still. Let them do their job. Let the system work. They cuffed him anyway. Standard procedure. Cleared the apartment. Found the dead man. Found the unconscious one. Found Ava sitting on the couch with her arms wrapped around herself. "Ma'am, are you injured?" "No, he saved us. Those men broke in. They were going to kill us. Jack saved us." One of the officers, a sergeant with gray hair and tired eyes, looked at Jack. "You Jack Mercer?" "Yes, sir." "I'm going to need you to come to the station, answer some questions." "I understand. My daughter. She's with my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, apartment 3C. She's 10 years old. She saw some of this. She's going to need—" "We'll take care of her. Social services will." "No." Jack's voice went hard. "No social services. Mrs. Chen is her legal guardian in emergencies. It's in my paperwork. You call social services, I want a lawyer." The sergeant hesitated, then nodded. "We'll talk to Mrs. Chen, but you're coming with us. Now." They took Jack to the precinct, put him in an interview room, left him there for an hour. Standard intimidation tactic. Let him sweat. Let him worry. But Jack had been interrogated by people a lot scarier than NYPD detectives. He sat quietly, his hands folded on the table, and waited. Finally, 2 detectives came in. A man and a woman, both in their 40s, both looking like they'd seen everything and weren't impressed by much. "I'm Detective Morrison. This is Detective Reyes. You're not under arrest, Mr. Mercer, but you are a person of interest in a homicide. You want to tell us what happened?" Jack told them everything. Ava Langford hired him 3 weeks ago after receiving threats. The escalation, the break-in at her apartment, the photographs, Evan Langford, the shell companies, Crane and Ross, the confrontation at the hotel, coming home to find armed men in his apartment threatening his daughter and his client. Morrison took notes. Reyes watched Jack's face, looking for tells for lies. She wouldn't find any. Jack was telling the truth, and the truth was simple. He'd protected his family. "You shot Michael Torres twice in the chest. He died before the ambulance arrived." "I didn't know his name. All I knew was he had a gun to Ava Langford's head, and he was threatening to kill her." "And Christopher Wade, the man you knocked unconscious?" "He was armed. He was standing in front of my daughter's bedroom door. I neutralized the threat." "Neutralized. That's a military term." I'm former military, Navy SEAL, 6 deployments. I know how to handle threats. Morrison leaned back in his chair. Here's my problem, Mr. Mercer. You're telling me that Evan Langford, billionaire businessman, hired contractors to kill his own sister? That's a hell of an accusation. It's the truth. Check Torres and Wade's financials. Check their phones. You'll find the connection. We will. But in the meantime, you killed a man in your apartment. That needs to be investigated. I understand. But while you're investigating, Evan Langford is still out there. Still a threat. You need to bring him in. Reyes spoke for the first time. We've already sent officers to his residence. He's not there. His office says he's out of the country. Business trip to Singapore. Jack's blood went cold. When did he leave? This morning, 6 a.m. flight. Before the break-in, he ran. Morrison frowned. Or he's actually on a business trip and you're paranoid. Check the flight manifest. Check when he booked that ticket. I'm betting it was yesterday, right after Ghost found the financial connections. Evan knew we were closing in, so he ran. The detectives exchanged looks. Morrison stood up. Wait here. They left him alone again. Jack checked the clock on the wall. 3 hours since the shooting. Lila would be terrified. Ava would be giving her statement. And Evan was on a plane somewhere over the Pacific thinking he'd won. The door opened. This time it was just Morrison. Christopher Wade is awake. He's talking. Says Evan Langford hired him and Torres through a middleman, paid them $50,000 each to grab Ava Langford and bring her to a warehouse in Brooklyn. He says Evan wanted to scare her, make her drop her claim to the company. He swears they weren't supposed to kill anyone. Do you believe him? Doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is we've got evidence now. Phone records, wire transfers, Wade's testimony, enough to get a warrant. What about me? You're free to go. DA reviewed the case. Clear self-defense. You did good, Mercer. Saved 2 lives today. Jack stood up, his legs stiff from sitting. My daughter. Where is she? Still with your neighbor. Social services came by, but Mrs. Chen vouched for you. Said you're a good father, that this was an isolated incident. They're going to do a follow-up visit next week, but for now, you're cleared to take her home. There is no home. My apartment's a crime scene. Morrison pulled out a business card, wrote something on the back. My sister runs a hotel in Queens. Small place, clean, safe. Tell her I sent you. She'll take care of you until you figure something out. Jack took the card. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep that little girl safe. And Mr. Mercer. Watch your back. Evan Langford's got resources, money, lawyers. Even if we arrest him, he'll make bail. Men like that don't go down easy. Jack knew. He'd been dealing with men like Evan his whole life. The difference was, in the military, when someone tried to kill you, you had permission to kill them back. In civilian life, you had to wait for the system to work. Had to trust that justice would prevail. But Jack had seen too many good people die waiting for justice. Outside the precinct, Ava was waiting. She stood up when she saw him, and for a second, Jack thought she might hug him. Instead, she just stood there, her hands clenched at her sides. They said you're free to go. Yeah, you. Same. They have my statement. They're building a case against Evan. Detective Morrison says it could take months. We don't have months. I know. They stood there in the fading afternoon light. 2 people who'd been through hell together and come out the other side, changed. Jack saw it in Ava's eyes. That hardness that came from facing death and surviving. She wasn't the same woman who'd hired him 3 weeks ago. That woman had been all polish and control. This woman had blood on her shirt and dirt on her face and fire in her eyes. I need to get Lila. Take her somewhere safe. Morrison gave you his sister's hotel information. Yeah, how did you? He gave me the same card. Told me to tell her we're together. That way we get adjoining rooms. He said it's safer if we stay close. Jack nodded slowly. Okay, let's go get my daughter. Mrs. Chen answered her door before Jack could knock. She'd been crying, her eyes red and swollen. When she saw Jack, she pulled him into a fierce hug. They told me everything. Those men. In your home. With little Lila there. I'm sorry, Mrs. Chen. I never should have brought this to your doorstep. Don't be stupid. You protected your family. That's what fathers do. She pulled back, looked at Ava. And you. You take care of this man. He's good. Too good for this ugly world. I know, Ava said quietly. Believe me, I know. Lila appeared behind Mrs. Chen, and Jack dropped to his knees, pulling her into his arms. Hey, baby. Dad, I was so scared. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Chen said you had to talk to the police. She said you were a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just your dad. That's the same thing. Jack felt his throat close up. He held her tighter, breathing in the smell of her shampoo, feeling the solid warmth of her in his arms. Alive. Safe. That was all that mattered. They packed quickly. Clothes, toiletries, Lila's homework, and her stuffed elephant. Jack grabbed his go-bag, the one he always kept ready with cash and documents and a spare weapon. Old habits. The hotel was exactly what Morrison had promised. Small, clean, tucked away on a quiet street. Morrison's sister, a woman named Teresa, with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, gave them 2 adjoining rooms without asking questions. Marco called ahead. Said you needed somewhere safe. You're safe here. I don't allow trouble in my hotel. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Lila fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from fear and adrenaline crash. Jack sat on the bed next to her, watching her chest rise and fall, making sure she was really okay. Ava sat in the chair by the window, staring out at the street. You should sleep too, Jack said quietly. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see that man, the one you shot. I see his face. That'll fade, eventually. Does it, for you? Jack was quiet for a long moment. No, not really. You just learn to live with it. Learn to understand that sometimes violence is the only answer. That sometimes good people have to do terrible things to protect the people they love. I've spent my whole life avoiding violence, building walls, keeping distance, thinking if I was smart enough, rich enough, powerful enough, I could control everything. She laughed bitterly. Turns out control is an illusion. Not an illusion, just limited. You can't control other people. You can only control how you respond. And you responded by killing a man. I responded by saving you and my daughter. If I had to kill 1,000 men to do it, I would. Ava turned to look at him. I believe you. Good. She stood up, walked over to where he sat. Jack, I need to tell you something. Before all of this, before the threats and the fear and the violence, I was alone, completely alone. I had money and power and success, but I didn't have anyone who actually gave a damn about me as a person. And then you showed up. This grumpy, overprotective, impossibly honorable man who looked at me and saw someone worth saving. Not my money, not my company, me. Ava. Let me finish. What I'm trying to say is, these last few weeks living in your home meeting Lila, seeing how you live your life with such integrity and love, it's changed me. You've changed me. And I don't know what happens next. I don't know if they'll arrest Evan, if he'll come after me again, if any of this will ever truly be over. But I know that whatever happens, I want you in my life, both of you, not as my bodyguard, as my family. Jack stood up slowly. You know what you're saying? You're talking about throwing away everything. Your company, your reputation, your whole world. The press will tear you apart. They'll say you're sleeping with your bodyguard, that you're unstable, that you're exactly what Evan's been saying all along. I don't care. Let them say whatever they want. I'm done living my life for other people's approval. I'm done being alone. She reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were warm, steady. Jack looked down at their joined hands, then back at her face. I'm not good at this. Relationships. After Sarah died, I shut down, focused everything on Lila. I didn't think I had room in my life for anyone else. And now I'm terrified, because I'm feeling things I swore I'd never feel again. And if I let myself care about you, really care, and something happens to you because of me, because I couldn't protect you. Jack, stop. You can't protect everyone from everything. You can't control the world. All you can do is show up, be present, care about people, and let them care about you back. That's it. That's all any of us can do. She was right. He knew she was right, but knowing it and believing it were two different things. Before he could respond, his phone rang. Ghost. Jack, we've got a problem. What now? Evan never got on that plane to Singapore. He checked in, went through security, but he never boarded. TSA has footage of him leaving the airport through a service exit 30 minutes before takeoff. Jack's stomach dropped. He's still in the city. Worse than that. I've been monitoring his credit cards, his phone, everything. Nothing. Complete silence. He's gone dark. What about his known associates? His apartment? All empty. Bank accounts haven't been touched. It's like he vanished. Ava had gone pale. He's planning something. Something big. Ghost's voice came through the speaker, grim. Jack, there's one more thing. I hacked into Evan's email. Found a deleted message from 2 days ago. It was addressed to someone called the Cleaner. You know what that means? Jack did. In their world, in the world of private contractors and black ops, a cleaner was exactly what it sounded like. Someone who made problems disappear. Permanently. The kind of professional who didn't fail, didn't leave witnesses, and didn't stop until the job was done. How much did Evan pay? $2 million. Wired to an offshore account yesterday morning. $2 million. For that kind of money, the cleaner wouldn't just kill Ava. He'd make sure everyone connected to her disappeared too. Loose ends. Witnesses. Anyone who could tie Evan to the crime. Jack looked at Lila sleeping peacefully on the bed. Then at Ava standing in the middle of the hotel room, her whole world crumbling around her. Ghost, I need everything you have on the cleaner. Real name, last known location, methods, everything. Jack, this guy's a ghost himself. No one knows his real identity. He's done jobs in 12 countries. Never been caught. Never left evidence. You can't fight him. You can't even find him. Then we need to make him find us. That's suicide. It's the only play we have. If we sit here waiting, he'll come when we're vulnerable. When Lila's at school. When Ava's testifying. When we're sleeping. But if we force his hand, make him come at us on our terms, we might have a chance. Ava grabbed his arm. Jack, no. We go to the police. We tell them everything. They can protect us. The police can't stop someone like this. He's too good, too professional. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll all be dead. So what do you suggest? We use ourselves as bait. Not ourselves. Me. I'm the only one he doesn't know about yet. Evan thinks I'm just some bodyguard. He doesn't know what I can do. Doesn't know who I really am. And who are you really? Jack looked at her, and for a moment, let her see past the father, past the protector, past all the walls he'd built. Let her see the soldier he used to be, the one who'd hunted terrorists through Afghan mountains, the one who'd gone into places so dark they didn't have names on maps. I'm the guy who scares the scary people. Ghost's voice came through the phone, reluctant. If you're serious about this, I can help. Set up a meet. Make it look like Ava's exposed, vulnerable. Draw the cleaner out. Do it. But Ghost, if this goes wrong. I know. Take care of your kid. I've got her trust fund information. She'll be set for life. Jack hung up and turned to Ava. Pack your things. We're moving again. Somewhere remote. Somewhere I can see him coming. Where? I've got a place. A cabin upstate. My uncle's. He left it to me when he died. It's off the grid. No utilities. No internet. Just woods and water and silence. How is that better? Because in the city, there are a million places for him to hide. A million angles of attack. A million ways to get to us. But in the woods, I'm the advantage. That's my territory. My training. And out there, the cleaner stops being a ghost. he becomes prey. Ava nodded slowly, understanding dawning in her eyes. You're going to hunt him. I'm going to end this, one way or another. But Ava, you need to understand something. Once we go down this road, there's no going back. We're committed. We're either going to win or we're going to die. Those are the only two options. She took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and looked him in the eye. Then we better not die. They left before dawn, while the city was still dark and quiet. Jack drove his uncle's old pickup truck that he kept in a storage unit for emergencies. The kind of vehicle with no GPS, no tracking, nothing digital that could give them away. Lila sat between him and Ava, her head resting against Ava's shoulder, still half asleep. Where are we going again? Lila asked, her voice small. Camping, Jack said. Remember Uncle Mike's cabin, the one we visited 2 summers ago? The one with no electricity. That's the one. I liked it there. It was quiet. Yeah, baby, it's going to be quiet. Ava looked out the window at the passing darkness. She'd been silent since they left the hotel, processing everything, trying to make sense of how her life had gone from boardrooms and power lunches to running from an assassin her own brother had hired. Jack could see her reflection in the glass. She looked tired, scared, but also determined. That fire he'd seen back at the precinct was still there, burning underneath the fear. They drove north for 3 hours, leaving the city behind, trading skyscrapers for trees, concrete for dirt roads. The cabin was exactly as Jack remembered. Small, weathered, tucked into the woods at the end of a winding path that most people wouldn't even know was there. His Uncle Mike had been a Marine, paranoid and prepared, and he'd built this place to disappear when the world got too loud. Jack parked the truck behind the cabin, out of sight from the road. He grabbed their bags while Ava helped Lila out. It's so dark here, Lila said, looking up at the trees blocking out the morning sun. That's good. Dark means hidden. Hidden means safe. Inside the cabin smelled like old wood and dust. One main room with a wood stove, a small kitchen with a hand pump for water, 2 bedrooms barely big enough for beds. No phone lines, no internet, no connection to the outside world except for Jack's satellite phone that Ghost had given him years ago. This is where we're staying? Ava asked, setting down her bag. This is where we're making our stand. Jack immediately went into tactical mode. He checked every window, every door, every sight line. The cabin sat on a small hill with clear views in 3 directions. The 4th side backed up against a rocky slope too steep to climb quietly. Good defensive position, limited approaches. He could work with this. Lila, I need you to stay inside today. No going outside unless I say so. Can you do that? Is this about the bad people? Jack knelt down in front of her. Yeah, it's about the bad people. But I promise you, I'm not going to let anyone hurt you, or Ava. I'm going to keep both of you safe. I know you will, Dad. You always do. She said it with such absolute certainty that Jack felt his chest tighten. She trusted him completely, believed in him without question, and he was about to use that trust to put her in danger. Ava must have seen something in his face because she put her hand on his shoulder. She's going to be okay. We all are. You don't know that. Neither do you. So we might as well believe the best. Jack stood up, pulled out his satellite phone, and stepped outside. He called Ghost. We're in position. What's the situation? I've been spreading breadcrumbs like you asked. Posted on some dark web forums that Ava's location might have been compromised. Let it slip she's hiding at a cabin upstate. Didn't give specifics, just enough to make it interesting. How long before the cleaner takes the bait? If he's monitoring like I think he is, he already knows. Could be hours, could be days. These guys are patient. We don't have days. Then you need to make some noise, draw him out. Jack looked at the woods surrounding the cabin. Thousands of acres of forest. A million places to hide. He needed to make the cleaner believe this was an easy target. Make him confident. Make him sloppy. I'm going to take Lila and Ava outside this afternoon. Make it look like we're relaxed, not expecting trouble. That's dangerous. That's the point. He won't resist an easy shot. And if he takes it, then I'd better be faster. Jack hung up and went back inside. Ava was trying to get the wood stove working, and Lila was exploring the cabin opening drawers, finding old board games and dusty books. Dad, there's a whole shelf of Hardy Boys books. Those were mine when I was your age. Uncle Mike saved them. Can I read them? Sure, kiddo. Just stay inside for now. Ava got the fire lit, and warmth started spreading through the cabin. She stood up, wiping soot off her hands. I used to think I was tough. Built a billion-dollar division from scratch. Went toe-to-toe with the biggest players on Wall Street. But this is a different kind of tough. This is survival. It's not about being tough. It's about being smart and staying alive. Is that what you did in Afghanistan? Jack poured water from the pump into an old kettle, set it on the stove. Afghanistan was different. There you knew who the enemy was. You could see them coming. This is messier. The enemy looks like everyone else, talks like everyone else, could be anyone. My brother used to protect me. When we were kids and Mom left, Evan would check under my bed for monsters. He'd make me hot chocolate when I had nightmares, and now he's the monster under the bed. People change. Money does that. Power does that. Did you change? After the war? Jack thought about it. About the boy from Queens who'd joined the Navy looking for purpose. About the man who'd come home carrying the weight of things, he'd done things he couldn't undo. Yeah, I changed. But I got lucky. I had Sarah. She reminded me who I was before all the blood and violence. Reminded me there was still good in the world worth protecting. And now you have Lila. Now I have Lila. And she's everything good Sarah was, everything I'm not. Ava stepped closer. You're good, Jack. Stop pretending you're not. Before he could respond, Lila called out from the bedroom. Dad? There's a raccoon outside the window. Jack was at the window in 3 seconds, his hand on his weapon. But it was just a raccoon, fat and unconcerned, digging through leaves looking for grubs. He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. False alarm. But his heart was still racing. Every sound was a threat. Every shadow was danger. This was going to be a long day. Around noon, Jack made sandwiches from the supplies they'd brought. Nothing fancy. Just bread and peanut butter and some apples that were starting to get soft. They ate at the small wooden table, Lila chattering about the Hardy Boys book she was reading. Ava trying to smile and nod in the right places, Jack scanning the windows every 30 seconds. Can we go outside? Lila asked. Just for a little bit, I want to explore. Jack and Ava exchanged looks. This was the moment. This was when they made themselves visible. Drew the cleaner out. Yeah, Jack said. We can go outside, but you stay close to me, no wandering off. I promise. They stepped out into the afternoon sunlight. The woods were beautiful, all gold and green leaves rustling in the breeze. Peaceful. Deceptive. Jack's eyes swept the tree line looking for anything out of place. A glint of metal. A shape that didn't belong. Movement where there shouldn't be any. Nothing. Lila ran ahead a little, picking up pine cones, examining bugs being a kid. Ava walked beside Jack, her hands in her pockets. How long do we wait? As long as it takes. And if he doesn't come, he'll come. $2 million is too much money to walk away from. They spent an hour outside. Jack showed Lila how to identify animal tracks in the soft dirt. Taught her which plants were edible and which weren't. Normal things. Father-daughter things. All while his spine tingled with the awareness that somewhere out there, someone was watching. Someone was waiting. As the sun started to drop toward the horizon, Jack herded them back inside. That's enough for today. But Dad, Inside. Now. Something in his voice made Lila obey without argument. Once they were back in the cabin, Jack locked the door, checked every window, again, closed all the curtains. "What did you see?" Ava asked quietly. "Nothing. That's what worries me." Night fell fast in the woods. 1 minute there was light, the next there was darkness so complete it felt solid. Jack lit kerosene lamps, their warm glow pushing back the shadows, but not far enough. Never far enough. He put Lila to bed in one of the small rooms, read her a chapter of the Hardy Boys, even though his mind was elsewhere, calculating angles and approaches, and how many seconds it would take to reach his rifle if shooting started. "Dad, are you scared?" He looked down at her. Her eyes were wide, serious. "A little bit, yeah. But you're not going to let anything bad happen." "No, I'm not." "Good, because I like Ava. I don't want her to go away." "What do you mean?" "I mean she's nice. And she's sad, but not as sad as she used to be. And you smile more when she's around. I like it when you smile." Jack felt something crack in his chest. Out of the mouths of babes. "Get some sleep, baby. I'll be right outside if you need me." "Love you, Dad." "Love you too." He closed the door and found Ava sitting by the window staring out into the darkness. "She's asleep." "Yeah. She's an amazing kid, Jack. You did good." "Sarah did good. I just tried not to screw it up." Ava turned to face him. "When this is over, when Evan's arrested, and the cleaner is gone, what happens to us? What do you want to happen?" "I want to wake up and not be scared. I want to look at my phone and not expect death threats. I want to sit in a boardroom and not wonder which of my colleagues wants me dead. And I want you and Lila in my life." "Is that too much to ask?" "No, that's not too much. But you don't think it's possible?" Jack was quiet for a moment. "I think the world doesn't care what we want. It takes and takes until there's nothing left. But sometimes, if you fight hard enough, you can keep a few pieces for yourself." "That's bleak. That's realistic." She stood up, crossed the small space between them, and took his hand. "Then let's fight. Let's keep our pieces." Jack pulled her closer, his other hand coming up to cup her face. She leaned into his touch, her eyes closing. "If something happens, don't. If something happens, you take Lila and you run. You don't look back. You don't try to help me. You just run. Promise me." "Jack, promise me, Ava." Her eyes opened fierce and wet. "No, I'm not promising that. We're in this together. All three of us." "That's not—" A sound outside. Faint. Just the snap of a twig. But in the silence of the woods, it might as well have been a gunshot. Jack's hand went to his weapon. He pushed Ava behind him, moving to the window, peering through a gap in the curtains. Nothing. Just darkness and trees and shadows. Another sound. Closer. Footsteps. Careful and deliberate. "Get Lila. Get her into the bathroom. Barricade the door. Stay quiet." "What about you?" "I'm ending this." Jack grabbed his rifle, checked the magazine, clicked off the safety. He moved to the door, listening. The footsteps had stopped. Whoever was out there knew he'd been heard. Was adjusting. Recalculating. Jack's phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from Ghost. "Thermal imaging shows 2 heat signatures approaching your position. One from the north, one from the east. Not the cleaner. His advance team. 2. Jack could handle 2. He'd handled worse odds in worse situations." He typed back, "Keep cleaner's location. I want him, not his errand boys." The response came immediately. "He's 2 clicks south, watching through scope. This is the test. You pass, he comes himself." So that was the game. The cleaner was watching. Wanted to see what Jack could do before committing himself. Professional. Smart. Exactly what Jack would do. Which meant Jack needed to put on a show. He killed the lamps, plunging the cabin into darkness. His eyes adjusted quickly, years of night operations making the transition automatic. He moved to the back window, the one that faced the rocky slope. Opened it silently. slipped out into the night. The cold air hit him like a slap. He could see his breath silver in the moonlight. He moved along the side of the cabin, his rifle up, every sense on high alert. There. Movement in the trees to the north. A shadow detaching from other shadows. Jack dropped to one knee, sighted and fired. The shadow fell. Immediately, gunfire erupted from the east. Bullets punched through the cabin's wooden walls. Jack rolled, came up behind a stack of firewood, returned fire. 3 shots. The gunfire from the east stopped. Silence again. Ringing ears. Adrenaline singing in his veins. Jack waited. Counted to 30. No more movement. He approached the first body carefully. Male, early 30s, tactical gear, suppressed pistol. Professional contractor. Dead before he hit the ground. The second body was 20 yards away. Same setup. Same result. Jack's phone buzzed. Impressive. The cleaner is impressed. He's moving in. ETA 10 minutes. Jack ran back to the cabin, checking on Ava and Lila. They were in the bathroom, the door barricaded with the dresser just like he'd taught them. He knocked 3 times his signal. "It's me. Stay inside. Don't come out no matter what you hear." "Jack, please. Stay inside. I love you." He said it without thinking, without planning. It just came out. And from the silence on the other side of the door, he knew Ava had heard it. Knew what it meant. But there was no time. The cleaner was coming. Jack positioned himself in the main room, rifle aimed at the door, pistol on the table within reach. His uncle's old shotgun propped against the wall. 3 weapons. 3 chances. He checked his watch. 8 minutes since Ghost's text. The cleaner would be close now. Maybe already in position. Jack's phone lit up with a call. Unknown number. He answered. "Jack Mercer." The voice was calm, professional, almost pleasant. "I'm the cleaner." "I know who you are." "Then you know how this ends." "Yeah, with you dead." The cleaner laughed. "I've studied you. Navy SEAL, 6 deployments, 17 confirmed kills, impressive record. But you're retired now, soft, playing house with a little girl and pretending to be normal. I'm not that soft. We'll see. I'm giving you one chance. Walk away, take your daughter, leave Ava Langford. I'll make it quick for her. Painless. You and your daughter live. Everyone wins. Everyone except Ava. She's dead either way. Evan paid me to finish this. I always finish." "Not this time." "Such certainty. Tell me, Jack, what makes you think you can beat me?" "Because I have something to fight for. You're just cashing a check." "Philosophical. I like it. See you soon." The line went dead. Jack stood in the darkness listening. The cleaner was close. Maybe already inside. Maybe watching through a window. Maybe lining up a shot right now. "I know you're there," Jack called out. "Stop hiding and face me." "I'm not hiding." The voice came from behind him. Jack spun, bringing his rifle around, but the cleaner was faster. A knife flashed in the moonlight. Jack felt cold steel bite into his shoulder. He dropped the rifle, grabbed the cleaner's wrist, and they went down hard. They fought in the darkness like animals. Jack got his hand on the cleaner's throat. The cleaner drove his knee into Jack's ribs. They rolled, crashed into furniture, knocked over the table. The kerosene lamp fell, shattered flames spreading across the wooden floor. Jack got on top, drove his fist into the cleaner's face once, twice. The cleaner bucked him off, reached for a gun. Jack kicked it away, dove after his own pistol. They both came up shooting. The noise was deafening in the small space. Muzzle flashes lit the room like lightning. Jack felt something hot punch through his side. Ignored it. Kept firing. The cleaner staggered, hit at least twice, but didn't go down. Professional to the end. They were out of ammunition. The cleaner pulled another knife. Jack grabbed the shotgun from where it leaned against the wall. They faced each other across the burning cabin, both bleeding, both exhausted. "You're good," the cleaner said. "Better than I expected. Surrender. I'll get you medical attention." Not how this works, the cleaner charged. Jack fired. The shotgun blast caught the cleaner's center mass and threw him backward into the wall. He slid down, leaving a red smear, and didn't move again. Jack stood there swaying, his vision blurring. The fire was spreading. Smoke filled the room. He needed to get Ava and Lila out. Needed to move. He stumbled to the bathroom, pounded on the door. It's over. We need to go. Now. The dresser scraped. The door opened. Ava took one look at him and gasped. You're bleeding. I'm fine. We need to get out. Fire. They got Lila, wrapped her in a blanket so she wouldn't see the body, and stumbled out into the night. The cabin was fully engulfed now, flames reaching toward the sky. Jack's uncle's last refuge burning. They made it to the truck. Jack handed Ava the keys. You drive. I can't. Jack, you need a hospital. Later. First we need to get somewhere safe. Call Ghost. He'll know where. Ava got behind the wheel. Lila in the middle. Jack slumped against the passenger door, his hand pressed to his side, blood seeping through his fingers. As they drove away from the burning cabin down the winding dirt road back toward civilization, Jack let his eyes close. It was over. The cleaner was dead. Evan's plan had failed. Ava was safe. Lila was safe. He'd done it. Kept his promise. Protected his family. The last thing he heard before unconsciousness took him was Lila's voice, small and scared. Dad, please wake up. And Ava trying to keep it together. He's going to be okay, sweetheart. Your dad's going to be okay. He has to be. Jack woke up to the smell of antiseptic and the sound of machines beeping. His side hurt like hell. His shoulder felt like someone had driven nails through it. But he was alive. He opened his eyes. Hospital room. White walls. Fluorescent lights. Ava sitting in a chair next to his bed, her head resting on her folded arms, asleep. Her hair was a mess. She had dried blood on her shirt. His blood. Ava. His voice came out rough, barely above a whisper. She jerked awake, her eyes finding his immediately. Jack! Oh God, you're awake! How long? 2 days. You lost a lot of blood. They had to do surgery to remove the bullet. It was close, Jack. Too close. Lila. She's fine. Mrs. Chen picked her up. She's staying with her until you're released. I wanted to bring her, but the doctor said you needed rest. Jack tried to sit up. Pain lanced through his side and he gasped. Don't move. You'll tear your stitches. What happened? After the cabin. I drove like hell to the nearest hospital. Ghost sent me coordinates. They were waiting for us when we arrived. The FBI too. Ghost had already sent them everything. All the evidence against Evan, the wire transfers, the phone records, Wade's testimony, everything. Evan. They arrested him at the Canadian border. He was trying to run. He's in custody now. No bail. They're charging him with conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, about 20 other things. His lawyers are good, but they're not miracle workers. He's going to prison, Jack, for a long time. Jack let his head fall back against the pillow. It was over. Really over. The cleaner. Dead. They found his body in the cabin ruins, or what was left of him. The fire destroyed most of the evidence, but it doesn't matter. Between Wade's testimony and Ghost's digital trail, they've connected everything. The whole conspiracy. It's done. And you... Are you safe? Ava's eyes filled with tears. I'm safe because of you. You took 2 bullets for me. You almost died for me. Why would you do that? Because I love you. The words hung in the air between them. Simple. True. Undeniable. Ava leaned forward, took his hand, carefully avoiding the IV lines. I love you too. I think I have for weeks now. Since that first night when you brought me to your apartment and Lila held my hand like I belonged there. I've spent my whole life not belonging anywhere, and then I found you and Lila, and suddenly I had a home. You still have a home, with us, if you want it. Of course I want it. But Jack, my life is complicated. The company, the board. The press is going to have a field day when they find out about Evan. About all of this. Let them. We'll deal with it together. A knock on the door interrupted them. Detective Morrison entered, looking tired but satisfied. Mr. Mercer, good to see you awake. How are you feeling? Like I got shot twice. Yeah, that'll do it. I wanted to update you on the case. Evan Langford has been formally charged. The DA says it's the most solid case they've seen in years. Between the physical evidence, the digital trail, and Wade's testimony, there's no way he walks. What about the board vote for the company? Morrison looked at Ava. That's your call, Ms. Langford, but I'd say you've earned it. Fighting off your own brother's murder plot, surviving multiple assassination attempts. The board would be insane not to give you control. Ava shook her head. I don't want it anymore. The company, the power, the endless fighting. I've spent 10 years climbing that ladder, and for what? So my own brother could try to kill me? No, I'm done. Jack squeezed her hand. What do you want? I want to build something new, something clean, something that doesn't have Evan's fingerprints all over it. And I want to do it with you. If you'll have me. I'll have you. We'll have you. Morrison smiled. Well, this got sappy fast. I'll leave you two alone. Mr. Mercer, get some rest. We'll need your testimony eventually, but it can wait. You've earned it. After Morrison left, Ava climbed carefully onto the hospital bed, curling up next to Jack, her head on his good shoulder. Tell me about Sarah. Really tell me. I need to know who she was. Jack was quiet for a moment, organizing his thoughts. She was light. That's the best way I can describe her. She walked into a room and it got brighter. She laughed, and you couldn't help but laugh with her. When I came back from deployment broken and angry, and not sure how to be human anymore, she didn't try to fix me. She just loved me. Reminded me that there was good in the world, that I was still good even after all the things I'd done. Do you think she'd approve of us? Yeah, I do. Sarah always said life was too short to be alone. That I should find someone who made me want to be better. Someone who saw past the uniform and the scars and loved the man underneath. That's you, Ava. You see me, the real me, and somehow you still love me anyway. There's no anyway about it. I love you because of who you are, not despite it. They lay there together, listening to the machines beep, feeling each other breathe. Outside the window, the city moved on. People lived their lives. The world kept turning, and for the first time in 2 years, Jack felt something that had been missing since Sarah died. Hope. 3 days later, they released him from the hospital. Lila was waiting in the lobby with Mrs. Chen bouncing on her toes with barely contained energy. The second she saw Jack, she ran to him, throwing her arms around his waist. Easy, kiddo. Still got stitches. I don't care. I missed you. I missed you too, baby. Mrs. Chen dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. You scared us all, Jack Mercer. Don't do that again. I'll try not to. They went back to Mrs. Chen's apartment temporarily. Jack's place was still a crime scene, though Morrison said it would be released soon. The damage could be repaired. The memories, though, those would take longer. That night, after Lila went to bed, Jack and Ava sat on Mrs. Chen's couch, drinking tea, trying to figure out what came next. I talked to my father today, Ava said. Told him everything. About Evan. About the attempts on my life. About you. How'd he take it? He cried. I've never seen my father cry. He said he failed us. Failed to see what Evan was becoming. Failed to protect me. He wants to step down from the company immediately. Wants me to take over. What did you tell him? I told him I'd think about it. But honestly, Jack, I don't know if I want that life anymore. Before all this, the company was everything. My identity. My purpose. But now? Now I have you and Lila, and the idea of going back to those boardrooms and power games just feels empty. So don't go back. Build something new. Like what? I don't know, but you're smart enough to figure it out. And whatever you decide, we'll support you. Me and Lila. We're a team now. Ava smiled that real smile he'd come to love. A team. I like the sound of that. 2 weeks later, the board held an emergency meeting. Ava attended Jack by her side. The boardroom was exactly as he'd imagined. All glass and steel and expensive furniture. Men in suits who'd never done an honest day's work in their lives. They stared at Jack like he was a zoo animal, this rough ex-military guy who'd somehow captured their golden girl. Let them stare. The board chairman, an old man named Robert Harrison, who'd known Ava's father for 40 years, called the meeting to order. Ms. Langford, given the recent events, the board has voted. Unanimously, we'd like to offer you the position of CEO effective immediately. Ava stood up. She'd dressed for this. Power suit, heels, hair perfect. She looked every inch the CEO they wanted her to be. Thank you. I'm honored, but I'm declining your offer. The room erupted, everyone talking at once. Harrison banged his gavel. Order, Ms. Langford, perhaps you don't understand. This is what you've been working toward for 10 years. This is your legacy. No, this was my prison, and I'm done being a prisoner. She pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. That's my resignation. I'm stepping down from the board, selling my shares. My father will retain his position as chairman, but I'm out, completely. But the company will be fine without me. Better, probably. I've spent too long fighting for something I didn't really want. Fighting because I was told I should want it. Because Evan wanted it, and I couldn't let him win. But you know what? I don't care about winning anymore. I care about being happy. And this doesn't make me happy. Harrison looked at Jack. This is your doing. No, sir. This is all her. Ava took Jack's hand. I'm starting a new company. A security firm. Specializing in protecting people like me. People whose families turn against them. People who are vulnerable and scared and need someone who actually gives a damn. And Jack's going to run it with me. Jack blinked. I am. You are. If you want to. I want to. Definitely want to. Harrison shook his head. You're making a mistake, Ava. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. For the first time in my life, I'm making a choice for me. Not for the company, not for my father, not for Evan, for me. They walked out of that boardroom together, and Jack felt Ava's hand squeeze his. She was shaking, not from fear, from exhilaration. I can't believe I just did that. I can. You're the bravest person I know. I'm terrified. Brave and terrified aren't opposites. They're usually the same thing. They picked up Lila from school, told her they were going out to celebrate. Took her to her favorite pizza place, the one where they knew your name, and gave kids free ice cream. Lila wanted to know what they were celebrating. A new beginning, Ava said. For all of us. Does that mean you're staying, like staying? Ava looked at Jack. He nodded. Yeah, sweetheart. I'm staying, if that's okay with you. Lila launched herself at Ava, hugging her tight. It's so okay. Can I call you Mom? Emma says you're basically my mom now. Anyway, because you live with us. And Dad looks at you the way her dad looks at her mom, and that means you're in love, and when people are in love, they become families. Ava's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Jack over Lila's head, and he saw everything he needed to know in her expression. Wonder, joy, belonging. You can call me whatever you want, Lila, but I'd be honored if you called me Mom. Okay, Mom. Can I have extra cheese on my pizza? You can have whatever you want. That night, after Lila was asleep, after they'd moved back into Jack's apartment, which had been cleaned and repaired after they'd checked every lock twice, and made sure the new security system was working. Jack and Ava stood in the kitchen just holding each other. Are we crazy? Ava whispered. Moving this fast. Starting a company together. Playing house. Probably. But I've been playing it safe my whole life. After Sarah died, I shut down. Focused only on Lila. Didn't let anyone else in because it hurt too much to lose someone I loved. But then you walked into my life all sharp edges and vulnerability, and you made me remember what it felt like to want more, to believe in second chances. I don't know how to do this. The family thing. I've been alone for so long. You're not alone anymore. You have us. Me and Lila. We're your family now, and families stick together, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Ava tilted her head up, kissed him softly. I love you, Jack Mercer. I love you and your impossible honor, and your stubborn protectiveness, and the way you'd burn down the world to keep the people you love safe. I love you too, and I promise I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never feel alone again. 6 months later, Mercer Langford Security opened its doors. Small operation. Just the two of them and 3 other ex-military contractors Jack trusted with his life. They specialized in personal protection for people in vulnerable situations, domestic abuse survivors, whistleblowers, people whose families had turned dangerous. Word spread fast. Within a year they had more clients than they could handle, had to hire more staff, had to move to a bigger office. Ava handled the business side. Jack handled operations. They made a good team. Evan's trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge gave him 25 years. No possibility of parole for 15. Ava attended the sentencing. Jack went with her. When Evan was led away in chains, he looked at Ava one last time. I'm sorry, he mouthed. Ava didn't respond, just took Jack's hand and walked out of the courtroom. Some betrayals were too deep for forgiveness. Some bridges once burned couldn't be rebuilt. But that was okay, because Ava had built new bridges. Better ones. Stronger ones. On a Saturday morning in spring, Jack made chocolate chip pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse. Lila helped getting flour everywhere. Ava sat at the kitchen table, her laptop open, reviewing contracts for 3 new clients. This was their life now. Messy and chaotic and absolutely perfect. Dad, can Emma come over today? We want to practice for the science fair. Sure, kiddo. Just let her mom know. Already did. She said yes. Ava looked up from her laptop. What's the project? Volcanoes. We're going to make the biggest eruption ever. It's going to be epic. Sounds messy. That's the best part. Jack plated the pancakes, set them on the table. They ate together, talking about nothing and everything. School, work, weekend plans, normal stuff. The kind of normal Jack had thought he'd lost forever when Sarah died. After breakfast, Lila ran off to clean her room before Emma arrived. Jack started doing dishes. Ava came up behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist. Happy. Yeah. You. Happier than I ever thought possible. It's strange. A year ago, I was miserable. Successful, but miserable. And then someone tried to kill me, and it was the best thing that ever happened. That's a weird way to look at it. But true. If Evan hadn't hired those people, I never would have hired you. Never would have met Lila. Never would have realized how empty my life was. So in a twisted way, I'm grateful. Jack turned around, pulled her close. I'm grateful too. For you. For this. For getting a second chance at happiness. Think Sarah would approve. I know she would. She always said life's for the living. That holding on to grief too tight means you miss the joy standing right in front of you. You're my joy, Ava. You and Lila. You're what makes life worth living. The doorbell rang. Emma had arrived. The house filled with the sound of girls laughing and planning and being kids. Jack and Ava cleaned up the kitchen together, moving around each other with the easy familiarity of people who'd been through hell and come out the other side stronger. That evening, after Emma had gone home and Lila was in bed, Jack found Ava standing at the window looking out at the city lights. What are you thinking about? Everything, nothing. How different my life is now compared to a year ago. How I almost lost everything and ended up gaining something I didn't even know I needed. Regrets. Not a single one. Well, maybe one. What? That we didn't meet sooner, that I wasted so many years chasing power instead of happiness. Jack put his arms around her from behind. We met exactly when we were supposed to meet, not a moment sooner. You needed to go through what you went through to become who you are, and I needed to heal from losing Sarah before I could love again. Timing matters. Spoken like a wise man. Spoken like a man who's learned the hard way that you can't control everything. Sometimes you just have to trust that things work out the way they're supposed to. Ava turned in his arms, looked up at him. I have something to tell you. Jack's heart skipped. Okay. I've been talking to a lawyer about adoption. I want to officially adopt Lila. If you'll let me, if she wants me to, I want it to be legal. Want her to be mine on paper the way she already is in my heart. Jack felt his throat tighten. She'd love that, and so would I. Yeah, you're already her mom in every way that matters. Might as well make it official. Ava's eyes filled with tears. I never thought I'd have this. A family, a real family. People who love me not for what I can do for them, but for who I am. Get used to it, because we're not going anywhere. You're stuck with us. Good, because I'm not going anywhere either. They stood there at the window, holding each other, watching the city that had tried to destroy them, but had ended up giving them everything. In the bedroom down the hall, Lila slept peacefully safe and loved. Outside, the world kept turning, kept throwing challenges and problems and chaos at anyone brave enough to face it. But inside this apartment, inside this family they'd built from pain and fear and the stubborn refusal to give up, there was peace. There was love. There was home. And that was worth fighting for. Worth bleeding for. Worth everything. Jack thought about that moment in the ballroom 6 months ago when he'd said those words that changed everything. Try touching her and see what happens. He'd meant it as a warning, a threat, a promise that he'd protect Ava no matter what. He'd kept that promise, had taken bullets for it, had killed for it, had nearly died for it. And he'd do it all again in a heartbeat. Because real protection wasn't about force or violence or showing how tough you were. Real protection was about standing your ground for the people who made you feel alive. For the people who saw past your armor to the person underneath. For the people who chose you day after day, even when it was hard. Ava had chosen him. Lila had chosen him. And he'd chosen them right back. That was the real victory. Not defeating Evan, not stopping the cleaner, not surviving the bullets and the fire and the fear. The real victory was this moment, right here, right now. Standing in his kitchen with the woman he loved, his daughter sleeping safely down the hall, and a future stretching out ahead of them full of possibility and hope. The scandal that almost destroyed them had become the story that made them whole. The danger that tried to break them had forged them into something stronger. The family that betrayed Ava had led her to the family that would never let her go. And somewhere, Jack hoped Sarah was watching. Hoped she approved. Hoped she knew that he'd finally found his way back to the light. I love you, he whispered into Ava's hair. I love you too, she whispered back. Forever. Forever. It used to scare him, that word. Used to mean watching people you loved slip away. But now it meant something different. It meant Saturday morning pancakes and school science fairs and building a business together. It meant arguments over what movie to watch and whose turn it was to do dishes and planning vacations they'd never quite get around to taking. It meant life. Real life. The messy, beautiful, terrifying, wonderful adventure of loving people and being loved in return. And Jack Mercer, former Navy SEAL, single father, professional bodyguard, had finally found what he'd been searching for since the day Sarah died. He'd found home. Not a place, not a building, but a feeling. The feeling of belonging, of being needed, of being loved not for what you could do, but for who you were. And he was never letting it go.